I saw the ABBA musical, the ABBA performance thing, and that kind of blew my mind a little bit because I didn't know so much of their music. But you know, I can't just say ABBA. I can't just tell the NME that I'm listening to ABBA. There's got to be something cooler than that.
Hi, I'm Michelle and I'm joined by Kele Okereke for the latest In Conversation series for the NME. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing okay. I'm a bit tired, but I'm not going to let that on during the interview.
All good. Your album's out very, very soon, Flames Part 2. How are you feeling about it?
How am I feeling about it? Yeah, I feel good. I feel pleased that I was able to finish it, and I'm excited about people being able to hear the whole thing. It's kind of, it feels odd because this is the album. I made this album immediately after lockdown. You know, even though I guess we've been around promoting, Bloc Party's been around promoting Alpha Games. This is the album that I was actually making immediately after everything kind of opened up, so I feel like I've been sitting on it for quite a long time.
That happens quite a lot with musicians, doesn't it? It feels like you record something, and does the record still feel as the same as when you're recording it if you have that gap in between, or is it a welcome break?
I was listening to the record yesterday because I knew I was doing this interview, and I thought I needed to go back and hear what it kind of felt like, and it still feels kind of exciting, and it's hard because, you know, already I'm thinking about the next one, and that kind of happens a lot with making, you know, with these sorts of projects, is that there's always such a lag between finishing it and starting something new that already now I'm on kind of album number 3 in my mind. But I feel that, but you know, looking back, I feel that, yeah, I am proud of it. I think that it did what I wanted it to do from, you know, the journey from the Waves, the first of the collection. I feel that the jump between the Waves and the Flames is kind of what I wanted, and the jump between the Flames and the next one will be even further. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. And
I guess we can't go too deep into this record without talking about the Waves Part 1. So what was your intention when you were writing that record? Firstly, thematically, and secondly, as part of the whole project?
You know, like the whole world at the time, I guess I wasn't really sure what was happening with my life, given that for the previous 15, 20 years I'd been a touring musician, and all that kind of came to an end, and I was having to readdress, I guess, my relationships with my family and my loved ones, and I guess all of that kind of anxiety meant I was feeling very kind of unsure of things for quite a long time, and I think that really bled into what the Waves was about for me. It was really about an outlet to express just a feeling of being lost at sea, really, that I didn't really know what was happening, and through documenting it, I guess I was able to see a path through it. Yeah, I knew that there was a sense that there needed to be a sense of action with whatever the follow-up was going to be. It needed to feel a lot closer in your face. I think the Waves is very much I guess the image that I'm using a lot to describe it is just the sound of being, you know, like at sea, you know, just being lost at sea and not really knowing where you were going, but feeling that you were being pulled somewhere. And I think the Flames was really much more of a call to action, you know, realising that you had to summon something from within yourself if you wanted things to change.
What those words conjure up, the Waves and the Flames, is the idea of these elements being both destructive and also life-giving.
Yeah. And
that duality that exists in both. Is that something that you were thinking of, or maybe not actively, but?
I mean, yeah, it was something that I was kind of at least aware of. I guess, I guess people will see when all of the records are done, but this idea of, I guess, the classical elements, fire, water, earth, and wind, and how their qualities, can resonate throughout us. That was something that I was aware that was something that I was thinking about, and it was something that I will carry on with the next two records. I guess there was a sense when I was making Bloc Party made a record called Hymns that was a very interesting record for me, because for the first time really I was looking internally at what at the things that I held sacred, and I don't know, I feel like this project, these albums are kind of maybe a continuation of that way of thinking.
And can we have any of an exclusive of what the next record's going to be like?
I can tell you what it's called. It's going to be called The Singing Winds.
Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess what I'm most excited about is the idea of all four of the records working together, because some of the songs and the themes and the characters will be reappearing throughout the project. So that's what I'm quite excited about, is making something that works and it stands on its own,
And in terms of the actual recording process, is there any way that it differed from The Waves? Or
no, I mean, it was similar to The Waves in that it was just me. It was just me and the producer. Like, all the sounds that you hear on the record are created by me playing the guitar. All the beats and stuff is all very kind of heavily edited and processed sounds of percussive sounds, and I thought that and that's been quite liberating, because usually I think The Flames is my 6th solo record. With The Waves, it's the second that I've made entirely just by myself, because I guess previously when making solo records it was always about working with other people, working with other producers, kind of beat makers or other musicians, and that was great, and I feel like I learned a lot, but I knew that when I was making The Waves it needed to be the sound of just me, like, with no other people really, as an authentic, the most authentic representation of what I make. So I think that was the thing that was always in the back of my mind with The Waves, was that it needed to just be me and no one else, and that in itself, that kind of limitation pushed me to be more inventive, or at least play in a different way, and I'm doing all this kind of loop stuff, and it's stuff that I would have never really approached previously. I found it quite exciting, to be honest. I found it quite exciting to know that it has to come from me. Every time I perform it, it's just the sound of me. So.
And as you say, your first solo records were a collaborative experience. Would you say some of that came from maybe not wanting to make too much of a jump from how you created music as part of a band? Was it at that time more of a comfort to work with other people, and now there's a kind of step into a solo bravery, solo in the truest sense of the word? Yeah,
I mean, I think with those first few records, definitely, like The Boxer and Trick and Fatherland, it was, although they were my solo records, I was definitely collaborating with other people, producers and kind of other musicians, other singers, and I guess there was a sense of feeling a little bit like you didn't really know what you were doing, and working with all these people, but you were there and you were present and you were willing to learn, and I don't know, I guess 5 records in, I felt, okay, well, this is it. I kind of have a sense of what it is I can do by myself, so this is what I should do. I mean, I'm kind of thinking at some point it would be nice to try the bigger ensemble cast, but right now I'm enjoying just this idea of pushing myself to do the most that I can do.
If you sort of further lent into production, not necessarily for your own records, could you imagine yourself doing a record that has lots of features outwardly, so people that you collaborated specific songs with are already established artists, you know, in that kind of like Mark Ronson-y way of doing records?
It's something I have thought about briefly, but I think I'm too much of an egomaniac to do that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love working with people, and I love being shown things that you would have never seen if you hadn't worked with these people. But at the same time, I do quite like the fact that the beauty of making music by myself is that I'm the judge, jury, and executioner, and it's all. And it can be quite selfish, and you're allowed to be quite ruthless, and I quite like that. But because given that my other main creative outlet is a collaborative effort where everyone has a say and an opinion and stuff, and that's the beauty of that.
I mean, I guess that kind of moves on well in talking about the last Bloc Party project. And like you said, you were making the project at the same time as you're doing the solo stuff. Is that the kind of balance that you need, or?
Well, actually, with Alpha Games, we'd actually, we pretty much made the record before we'd written the songs for the record before the first lockdown even started. So we had to kind of sit on our hands for 1.5 years with this kind of record that that already conceptually and musically was already there. So although we were kind of promoting it, I guess, although we've been promoting it in the last year or so, it hasn't been something that I guess emotionally I've been engaged in. Whereas The Flames was pretty much, that's what I was writing, and that's where that's where I was funneling, my concerns and my, whatever it is I write songs about these days.
And I was actually speaking to a friend yesterday about, specific actors that say they can never watch themselves back. I'm always so fascinated by it, because of course you're sort of proud of the body of work that you've produced, but I guess, why does that happen? I mean, personally, I don't think I could ever watch myself or listen back to anything. It's like listening to your own voice, which I might have to do after this.
I mean, I used to have a problem with that, and now I love the sound of my own voice. I don't know, I guess the act of being a professional musician, I guess, for like 20 years is that you kind of, some things get easier. So, and you realise that you are doing it. When you realise, when you can make a living being creative, it's a real gift. I don't know, there are aspects of this life that I don't particularly enjoy, but I look at the bigger picture and I realise that I've been very lucky to be able to do.
What are the aspects that you don't enjoy?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm finding touring a lot harder these days. Hence, I haven't really done so much of it.
How come you find it more difficult? I hear that a lot. But
I just think after, I guess we had children. We have 2 children, and our son was like 6 months at the start of the first lockdown. So, like, I've been kind of home the whole time, pretty much, and I realised that I like that. I like waking up in the same bed and having routines. I think when you spent the last 20 years travelling and being in hotels and tour buses and sharing what you have made with lots of people that want to hear it. So it's not all bad, but at this point in my life, I feel like we can cut right back on the amount of touring. But so that's I don't want to sound ungrateful, because as a young person, it was a beautiful way to see the world and to meet lots of people and to share the things that you've made with people and to see how what you've made brings joy to people. It's like a lovely thing. I just I guess my life has changed in the last 6 years. So.
Yeah, and speaking of being able to, you know, have this life that you have now, and like you say, it's been a long career. With Bloc Party, if my maths work out correctly, Silent Alarm will be 20 years next year.
What's next year?
2024.
2024. Yeah, I guess we made it I guess it will be.
Yeah. And when you think of the sort of legacy of that, and do you engage in it? Do you kind of engage in how important it was as a record, and how, you know, it still is important to a lot of people now?
Do I engage with it?
The legacy of it, I suppose.
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because obviously I'm completely thankful that it has, as a record, it's connected with people. I completely understand that, but you know, but it's like that point where I said at the start that you kind of, you know, when I hear any record that we've made, I kind of hear the things that I'd do differently if I had the opportunity to do it again, and that's kind of, you know, so, and that's the same with that record. That, you know, if I do hear it, there are, you know, obviously I'm proud of it, but I just hear the things that I would do differently. But that's the same with every record, and that's kind of why I think I made so many records over the years. Is that you know, I think that's probably, it's more about, that says more about me than it does about the record. I think I'm a restless person.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you'll be going on tour with Paramore next month. Yeah. And they've also talked a lot about how their latest record is very much influenced by Bloc Party. How does that make you feel as well? Do you kind of feel like an elder statesperson of indie?
It makes you feel old. That's how it makes you feel. It makes you feel like an old man. I mean, it's lovely. It's lovely that you know, they've said so many nice things about the record. I'm looking forward to meeting them, and yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting them and seeing them. The drummer in our band I didn't know so much of their music before, but the drummer in our band, Louise, she was like a big fan, so she's been giving me lots of recommendations of things to listen to, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck in.
And their kind of progression in their career is amazing too, because I feel like they're sort of equally restless people. They change and they adapt in such a natural flow and natural way. What I'm interested by them, and a lot of artists that say that they're fans of yours, is that the focus necessarily isn't on the first two records. I feel like a lot of artists that are younger and influenced by you kind of cover the entire discography of Bloc Party.
It's funny you say that. I was on the, Bloc Party have been, I guess, writing in the last week, and I've been getting the tube with my guitar, and I got on the tube in South London, and someone just stopped me and pulled off his iPhone and showed me that he was listening to a song from our record, from Four, the record on Four, and that was interesting because it was just interesting to see, because you know, for the most part you can go about your day without thinking about being reminded about what it is that you do, but I just thought that was cool. And then on the same journey, somebody else stopped me and told me that they're listening to our music. So I think it was maybe because I was holding a guitar that they couldn't, they recognised me. But I think, you know, we have made a lot of music over the years, and you know, and we're going to make more. So
there'll be much more to dig into in the next 20 years.
I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm always wary of saying things like this, making predictions, because you invariably get, the history proves you wrong. But we're writing at the moment, and it feels exciting.
And do you have any sort of musicians that you're listening to now that you're big fans of? Whether it's something that came out a long time ago, or any new bands that you're into?
Let me think. I might need to look at my iPod. Is that okay?
Yeah.
because I'm always listening to stuff, but my thing is I don't listen to records so much. I tend to listen to, I know it's an awful thing to say to the enemy, but I tend to just to hear hot tracks and think, what's that? Oh yeah, there's this singer called, there's a singer I like called like Beyonce. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I've never heard of her. I wasn't desperately trying to get tickets a few weeks ago. No, not at all.
I'm having to go to Cardiff because we're on tour. Let me have a quick look at what I'm listening to right now. Oh, okay. Well, I saw the ABBA musical, the ABBA performance thing, and that kind of blew my mind a little bit because I didn't know so much of their music. But you know, real. I can't just say ABBA. I can't just tell the enemy that I'm listening to ABBA. There's got to be something cooler than that. Oh yeah, ABBA and the Bee Gees I've been listening to a lot, and the Eurythmics. But that's because there's a project that I'm doing that I kind of need to be listening to, that sort of thing. What new stuff? What new music?
Yes, new music. New Music Express, it's called.
New Music Express. Yes, exactly. It's not called Old Fart Express. Doechii, I like.
Yeah, she's great.
Arca, I was listening to a lot of. Actually, when I was listening, probably the biggest thing that I was listening to when making The Flames was Sophie, the music of Sophie. As I said, like a lot of this music came to me when, you know, a lot of the ideas to this music came to me coming out of lockdown. That was when I was writing this stuff, and I was listening to the music of Sophie a lot in lockdown when I felt I needed to dance, and you know, I couldn't go out to dance, so it became very special to me. So it was very, and then it was super sad to hear that she passed, and the way that she passed as well. Just seemed so tragic and poetic, you know, staring at the moon. So yeah, I think I should probably mention Sophie. That's probably the artist I was listening to the most when making The Flames, actually.
Amazing. Well, I think, you know, we're all very excited to see Bloc Party, but also in April and I guess May, but also see what plans you have for your own solo tour potentially. If you have the time.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I've just done a performance that I think people will be seeing probably soon, around the time of release of the album, and that was very interesting because just playing it all live was something that I hadn't forgotten about. It was obviously written live and then kind of worked on, but to turn everything around and turn it into performance was kind of stressful, but also enjoyable.